This video is lesson 6 of the Hands-on Equations learning system, and in this lesson you will solve equations where you will be applying the distributive property. And at the top of the screen you'll see our first example, and you'll notice that there are parentheses in this equation, and we would read this as two groups of x plus 3 has the same value or equals x plus 8. Even though there is not a sign between the 2 and the expression in the parentheses, this means we are taking 2 of everything in the parentheses. So in this case, 2 of the x plus 3. When we set this up, we will do x plus 3 because we're going to do what's in the parentheses first, but then we will do 2 of those. So we will then put another x plus 3. You can either put them right below each other, or if you want to, you can group the x's together and the 3's together, or it really doesn't matter. You could set it up like this as well. Regardless, we need 2 x's and 2 3's. The distributive property allows us to rewrite the left-hand side after distributing the 2 to each term in the parentheses. So we would have 2 x-men, or 2 x's, and 2 3's. 2 3's has a value of 6. And if you look at what we set up, we have 2 x's and 2 3's, or 2x plus 6. The right side is just x plus 8. And now that we have our equation set up, we can go ahead and use the rules that we already know to solve it. So I'm going to take away an x-man from both sides. I'm going to take away a 3 from both sides. 8 minus 3 becomes 5. And now I'm going to take another 3 away from both sides. And 5 minus 3 becomes 2. So now that we've solved this, we have x has a value of 2. We're going to set it back up to do our check. My original equation had x plus 3 twice. And then on the right-hand side, we had x plus 8. Anywhere I see an x, I'm going to put a value of 2. So I have 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3. And over here I have 2 plus 8. 2 plus 3 is 5, and we had 2 of those, so that would be 10. 2 plus 8 is 10. So our check, 10 equals 10, confirms that this equation is balanced. Here is our second example, and if you feel like you are ready to try this on your own, go ahead and pause the video and either use your manipulatives to set up this equation or draw a sketch. In this equation, we have the expression 2x plus 1 in parentheses, but we have 2 of that expression, and all of this, 2 of that expression, has a value of 18. When we're setting it up, start with the parentheses first. So I have 2 x's. Remember that this means 2 of the x's, not a 2 plus x, just 2 of the x's. 2 x's plus 1, but we're going to do everything in the parentheses twice. So I have another 2 x's plus 1. And if you want to, you can group all of those together to simplify that expression. On the right-hand side, we have 18. I'm going to make that as 10 plus 8, but you can use other combinations, 9 plus 9, etc., to make 18. And remember that the distributive property says we're distributing this 2 to everything in the parentheses. So we have 2 groups of 2 x's, or 4 x's, and then 2 groups of 1 or 2. So we should have 4 x's, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 1's, 1, 2, which is equal to 4x plus 2. And we can now go about solving this. I'm going to take away 1 from each side. 8 minus 1 is 7. And then I'm going to do that again. 1 from each side. And of course, if you wanted to, you could have just taken 2 away from each side and you would have gotten 16 faster. So now what we have left is we have 4 x's on the left-hand side and 16. 4 times some number equals 16. And 4 times 4 equals 16. So x equals 4. We're going to set this up again, just as it originally was, to do our check. So we needed 2x plus 1 twice. on the left-hand side, and then 18 on the right-hand side. Anywhere that we see an x, we're going to put a 4, so I have 4 plus 1, and another 4 plus 4 plus 1. 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9, so we have two of those. 9 plus 9 gives us a value of 18. And of course, on the right-hand side, we have 18. Our check, 18 equals 18, confirms that this equation is true when x has a value of 4. And here's our third example. In this equation, we have 2 times the quantity x plus 4 plus another x equals x plus 12. This would again be a good time for you to pause the video, try this out on your own, and then unpause the video to check your work. I'm going to start with the parentheses. On the left-hand side, we have x plus 4 in parentheses. And then outside of that parentheses, we have a 2 multiplied by that quantity. So that means we're going to do x plus 4 twice. So here's another x plus 4. Then we also have this other x, so we need one more x. And then on the right-hand side, we have an x plus 12. You certainly are encouraged to group all of your x's together and all of your numbers together to simplify the equation. And if we look at our original equation, we should have 2 x's as well as 2 4's. 2 4's equals 8, plus another x. So if we were to simplify this whole left-hand side, we have 2 x's and another x. That gives us 3 x's plus 8, and then the right-hand side would be x plus 12. If we look at our setup, we have 3 x's plus 8 equals an x plus 12. So we're now ready to solve. I can take away an x from both sides. And then I'm going to take away the 2 from the right-hand side, and 2 from 4 gives me 2. And I think I'm going to take away the 2 from the left-hand side. 10 minus 2 gives me 8. And then take away 4 from both sides. 8 minus 4 gives me 4. What I'm left with now is 2 x's equals 4. 2 times what equals 4. 2 times 2 equals 4, so x has a value of 2. To complete the check, I'm going to set up the equation in its original form. So its original form had x plus 4 twice. So I'm going to move this back up here so we can see x plus 4 twice. Then one more x. And then we had x plus 12. And anywhere I see x, I'm going to replace that x with a value of 2. So on the left-hand side, I have 2 plus 4, 2 plus 4, plus another 2. So that would be 2, 4, 6, plus 2 4's. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus another 4 is 14. So I have a total value of 14 on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I have 2 plus 10 plus 2. 2 plus 10 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. So our check, 14 equals 14, confirms the equation is balanced when x equals 2. So to recap, what you did new in this lesson was equations that required you to apply the distributive property to solve them. When you see an expression that's in parentheses, for example, x plus 4, set that expression up first. Then look outside the parentheses and see how many times you need to set that expression up. In this case, it's 2. This number may not always be 2. If it's a 3, then it just means we have 3 of the x plus 4. Of course, everything else in your equation, you'd set it up just based on what you've learned in previous lessons. So after you've applied the distributive property, use what you know to go ahead and solve your equation.